Hello guys, so today we are going to learn the concept of Bode plot. So now we are given our transfer function g of s equals 25 million divided by s times 10 plus s times 2500 plus 2.5 s. So this is the transfer function which is given to us. So in order to continue the calculation, we can't keep these terms in this format because we have to convert this type into 1 plus ts format, and this component, this part also we have to convert into 1 plus ts format. That means the things that are separated by these brackets should take the form of 1 plus ts. So what can you do for that? So for an example, if you consider this 10 plus s, you can take 10 out as a factor. So this will become 1 plus s divided by 10. That means 1 plus 0.1 s. So like that, g of s equals 25 million divided by s times, I told you to take 10 out as a factor. So this will become 1 plus s divided by 10. And here also, in order to have this in the format of 1 plus ts, you can take this 2500 out, and then it will become 1 plus 0.001 s. So now here we have 2500, 10 means 25,000 in the denominator, and here also 25 million. So we can cut this 25,000 into this 25,000, then we will be having 1000 divided by s times 1 plus 0.1 s into 1 plus 0.001 s. So now this is the format that we need to have, because simply I told all these components should take the format of 1 plus ts. So that is why we did some factorization, right? So that is the basic part. So now we know our ultimate transfer function is 1000 divided by s times 1 plus 0.1 s times 1 plus 0.001 s. So now there is a data table that we need to obtain. That means we have to do some calculations for a data table. So now the next thing is, I told you we have to obtain some data table. So now in the data table, from the transfer function that we have obtained, as we know this is our transfer function, we have to do some categorization, right? That means we have to separate some components. So now let's see how to do that categorization. That means in this transfer function, you have to separate all the terms that are related with the letter s. That means individually you have to separate all the terms that are related with the letter s. So if you do the categorization like that, you can consider this part as a one category. So what is that part? 1 plus 0.001 s. This is a one category, and then this 1 plus 0.1 s as another category, and then you can consider this s as another category. So basically we have three compartments, or we have like three components. So now we can write them. So what is the first component that I told you? 1 divided by this one, 1 plus 0.001 s. I told you that. And the next compartment is 1 divided by 1 plus 0.1 s. And the next component is this s. But keep in mind, when you are going to separate, or when you are going to do the categorization, then you have to cover the entire transfer function. So that means we have taken this as a compartment, and we have taken this as a compartment. So if we only take this s, that means this 1000 will be left alone, so that is not good. So as we have to cover the entire function, so better to take this s with this 1000 also, that means 1000 divided by s. So now that is the way how you should do the categorization. So here you can see this as compartment number 1, this as compartment number 2, this as compartment number 3. Okay, so now the next thing is we need to fill something called a data table. So now I will teach you how to fill that data table. So in filling that data table, there are some titles. The first thing is the term or the component, and the next thing is the corner frequency, and the next thing is slope, and the other one is change in slope. So now I told you the first component is 1000 divided by s, and the next one is 1 divided by 1 plus 0.1 s, and the other one is 1 divided by 1 plus 0.001 s. Okay, so now in corner frequency there is something called as I told you previously, the components that take the format of 1 plus ts are the ones which will generate a corner frequency. So for an example, just look at this. If you look at this component here, you can see 1 plus 0.1 s. That means this is according to the format of this, right? So this will generate a corner frequency. Again, if you consider this part here also, you can see this also takes the format of 1 plus ts. That means this will also generate a corner frequency. This will generate and this will generate, but this will not generate a corner frequency. Reason, this will not take the format of 1 plus ts. It's very easy. See here, 1 plus 0.1 is like t, it is same as this t, and this s is same as this s. Okay, so now here if you consider this part, 1000 divided by s, no corner frequency is applicable, so you can put a dash or you can write not applicable. And then if you consider this one, so now from here you can find a corner frequency. So how you are going to find the corner frequency? Okay, so just look at the coefficient of this s. So the coefficient is 0.1, so you take the inverse of the coefficient of s, that means 1 divided by 0.1, right? So which will equal to 10. 1 divided by 0.1 equals 10. Okay, so now here also you can see what is the coefficient of s? 0.001. So that means 1 divided by 0.001, which will equal to 1000, right? So here 10 is the corner frequency, which is radians per second. Here 1000 is the corner frequency, which is radians per second. Here no corner frequency. And so now the next thing is slope, right? So how to get the slope? Okay, it is like this. For that also there is a pattern. I will tell you that. This is our corner frequency. This is our transfer function, s plus 1 plus 0.1 s times 1 plus 0.001 s. Okay, so now I will tell you how to get the slope. Okay, so now what is the first component that we have? This. Okay, so now focus. This term s in the transfer function is in the denominator. Okay, so because this s is in the denominator, just put negative. Okay, and now what is the order of this s, or what is the power of this s? It is 1. That means only one s is there. So just because only one s is there, you put 20. And if you look at this one, Here also we have s, and that s is in the denominator, downstairs, right? See this one is in the denominator, which is downstairs. So because of being at downstairs, you have to put negative, right, under the slope category. Okay, you have to put negative, and the order of this s is 1, so just put 20. Okay, I will do some more example, then you will understand that. Here also just consider 1 plus 1 over 1 plus 0.001s. So now in that case, this part, now this is that part which is the last component, which I have written here. So this is also in the denominator. So just because this is in denominator, you put negative. And what is the order of s? The power of s is 1, because only one is there, s to the power 1. So just put 20, right? So that is how you get the slope. Okay, so now in order for you to give a better understanding, okay, I will take a little example like this. Say for an example, right, just as an example, think this is the function we have. Okay, okay, no need to put another s, as an example only. Okay, so now as an example we have a function like this. So how you are going to do that categorization? You can do it like 1000 s squared, and then 1 divided by 1 plus 0.1 s, then 1 divided by 1 plus 0.001 s. Okay, so now I will tell you how to do that as an example. So now here in the first component, the s is in the numerator, upstairs. So just because this is in upstairs, you put positive. And now here, what is the order? What is that power of s? That is 2. That means you have to put 2 of 20s. That means 20 comma 20. So that means addition of 20 will be 40. Because why here 40? Because you have to put 2 of 20s. Why? Because the order is 2. Why you have to put positive? Because this is the numerator, upstairs. Here it will be same. This is in the denominator, so you have to put negative. Order is 1, so then 20. Here also same. This is in the denominator, so put minus, and the order is 1, so it is 20. Okay, so again, as for the better understanding, let's do another example like this. Okay, say for an example, now we have the transfer function 1000 s to the power cube divided by 1 plus 0.1 s times 1 plus 0.001 s, as an example. So now how we are going to do that categorization? As you have to cover the entire function, you have to take it with the constant, so it will be 1000 s cube will be the first component, then 1 divided by 1 plus 0.1 s, and then the next one is 1 divided by 1 plus 0.001 s. Okay, so now here see, this s component is in numerator, upstairs. So because of being at upstairs, just put positive. Here the order of s is 3. That means 3, that means the order of s is 3. That means the number is 3, the power is 3. So for that you have to put 3 of 20s. 20 plus 20 plus 20. 3 of 20s, that means 60. Okay, so here it will be same, minus 20 minus 20. So I think now you can understand the concept. Okay, so now again we will come back to the data table. So now you know how to get this corner frequency concept. You know how to get the corner frequency now. From here now corner frequency, because this is not taking the format of 1 plus ts, and also we obtained the slope. And so now the change in slope. Okay, change means the difference, but I told you this is the first term, right? So this is the first term. Just because this is first term, there is no any sort of change. Why? Because there is a first term, so no change. And the next one, so when you are going to the next line, okay, what is the change in slope? You have to add these two guys. so then it will become minus 40. And then when you are going to the next line, I mean if you are going to find the change in slope at here, you have to add this one with this one, so this will become minus 60. What are the units? Decibels per decade, right? What are the units? Decibels per decade. Okay, and also I will tell you actually what is a corner frequency. I mean just technically now you know how to calculate corner frequency, but if you don't know corner frequency it will be a problem. Okay, corner frequency, I will write it here. Corner frequency is the frequency at which the response of the graph or the plot changes. Or in other words, you can say corner frequency is the frequency which is responsible for the change in the response, right? Because now we are going to plot the border plot, so it is something, you know, border plot is a frequency analysis method, right? So now in that frequency analysis plot, right, corner frequency is the frequency that is related with the change in the plot or the change in the response, right? So a change will always take place at a component where it takes the format of 1 plus ts, right? So I told you corner frequency is the frequency at where the response of the plot changes, right? So that means the response of the plot changes based upon the compartments of that takes the format of 1 plus tx. That means the compartments where you have the format of 1 plus ts, those compartments will be responsible for the change in response. Okay, so now this is how you are going to find that. How? You know the coefficient, just take the reciprocal of this, that means 1 divided by 0.1, so it will give 10. So now that is how you find the corner frequency. Okay, so now there is something else that I need to tell you. So now I told you something about the corner frequency. So now let's see how this corner frequency comes theoretically. As I told you, based upon our original transfer function, right, based upon our original transfer function, I told you only these guys are the ones which are actually responsible for the change in the response, right? Because these components take the format of 1 plus ts. So now how this corner frequency comes technically means, just consider this part. Okay, what is this part? 1 plus 0.1 s. Okay, so now replace this s by putting s equals j omega. Actually this omega stands for frequency, right? Just take one such component which is 1 plus 0.1 and then put s equals j omega, so it will become 1 plus 0.1 j omega, and equate this to 0, so then you will be getting 0.1 j omega equals minus 1. So j omega equals minus 1 divided by 0.1. So now corner frequency is the modulus or the magnitude of this j omega, so which will equal to minus 1 divided by 0.1 magnitude. So now you know when you are going to take the magnitude, you don't need to worry about the negative. So modulus 1 divided by 0.1. What is the answer? 10, because you don't need to worry about the negative. So that is how theoretically you are going to find the natural, not natural frequency, that is how theoretically you are going to find the corner frequency. But there I told, for the easiness, it is just the 1 over the coefficient of s, but that is the technical way, but theoretically this is how it comes. So the compartments that are taken in the format of 1 plus ts are very special. So that is why initially we could not continue the problem with this format, because we really needed to convert this fact into 1 plus ts format. Okay, so that is also done. So now our next target is to obtain the uh, magnitude table or the magnitude plot. Okay, so now let's say the next table is magnitude table, or we can also say amplitude table. Amplitude table, right? Okay, so now we basically know we could get only two corner frequencies. Okay, so that is clear, right? So the first corner frequency is 10, right? Because when you are considering from the when you are considering according to the increasing order, actually depending upon the previous table, there were only two corner frequencies. One is 10 and other one is 1000. Okay, so now we are going to do something like this. Now uh, in order to continue the calculation, we need to introduce another two more corner frequencies. So the first corner frequency that we are going to introduce will be lesser than the lowest originally existing value. So originally existing lowest frequency is 10. So let's put another one more extra which is lesser than this. So let's put it as 1. Okay, right. So now depending upon the current frequency, the current highest frequency that we have is 1000. So in order to continue the calculation, so let's introduce another one more frequency which is higher than this. So that will be 10,000. So what is this 10,000? This is a corner frequency that we introduced in order to continue the calculation. So now it is done. So now what we need to do, we need to find something called magnitude with respected to these frequencies, right? So all these frequencies are in radians per second, you know. So now we need to find the magnitude at uh, the corner frequency of 1, the magnitude for the corner frequency of 10, the magnitude for the corner frequency of 1000, the magnitude for the corner frequency of 10,000. So let's call it how to say that? Okay, so let's call it M1, right? So M1 is the magnitude for the corner frequency of this. So now let's, for the next one, let's say M10. M10 is the magnitude for the corner frequency of 10. M1000 is the magnitude for the corner frequency of 1000. Then M10,000 is the magnitude for the corner frequency of 10,000, right? So now let's see how we're going to find that. Okay, right. So now for the betterment, let's keep some sort of a notation for the corner frequencies also, right? I think it will be better. So now depending upon the corner frequencies that we actually have, because this 10 and 1000 are the corner frequencies that we have originally. So if we start from the increase in order, let's say, let's put a notation simply omega c1. Okay, and to this one I will put omega c2. This is the extreme lowest, so here we will put omega L, that means omega low. Okay, let's put capital L. And this is the extreme highest, so let's put omega high. Very easy. So now we need to find the respected magnitude for that. Okay, so now let's see how to find that. Right, so what is the first thing we need to find? M1. So now I will teach you how to find M1. M1 equals like before doing the calculation, it is really better to have the transfer function in your mind. 1000 divided by s times 1 plus 0.1 s times 1 plus 0.001 s. Okay, so now our target is to find magnitude 1. So what is this magnitude? Okay, it's okay, I will better write this. Magnitude for the corner frequency of 1 radians per second. So how to find that? It's very easy, not hard. M1 equals 20 log first component, or you can say first compartment. So now can you remember what is our first compartment? So now again when you go back to the calculation, then you can see this is our first component, or this is our first compartment. Okay, right, so I hope you can remember this. Okay, if you don't remember, I will again just write this at one corner. The first compartment that we have is 1000 divided by s. The next one, 1 divided by 1 plus 0.1 s. The next one is 1 divided by 1 plus 0.001 s. Okay, so now here there is a formula. So M1 equals 20 log first component, or the first compartment, at omega equals omega L. Okay, because now omega L is the particular frequency that we are going to find M1. Okay, so equals, carefully focus guys, 20 log, what is our first term? 1000 divided by s at omega equals omega L. But in order to do the calculations, it is better you have to replace this s by put in j omega. That would be much better. So 20 log 1000 divided by j omega at omega equals omega L. Here 1000 divided by j omega came because of 1000 divided by s. What is 1000 divided by s? That is our first term. Okay, the first term, right? So what is our omega L? It equals 1, because omega L is 1 radians per second. So equals 20 logarithmic, but there is one thing guys, it is not just logarithmic, right? It is the log of modulus. Keep in mind, not just log, it is the log of modulus of first term. But now you know the first term is 1000 divided by j omega. So now here we have omega, right? So now replace this omega by putting the lowest frequency. So what is the lowest frequency? That is 1. So again equals 20 log 1000 divided by j omega. So now omega is 1, right? So omega is 1. So j times 1, right? Okay, I will write it again. Magnitude 1 equals 20 log modulus 1000 divided by j times 1, because the first lowest frequency is 1. So now this is modulus, right? So you don't need to worry about this j guy. Okay, so it will become 20 log, no problem. 1000 divided by 1 will be 1000. So what is the logarithmic of 1000? That is 3. So 20 multiplied by 3. What is 20 multiplied by 3? That is 60. Okay, so 60, what are the units? It will be decibel, right? Right. So that's the fact. Okay, so now what is the next thing that we have to find? So the next thing that we need to find is another such magnitude. Okay, so now we need to find M2. What is M2? That is the magnitude for the corner frequency of, as you can remember, right now you should have the problem in your mind. So now what is the magnitude that we have? We had 1, and we had 10, we had 1000, and we had 10,000. So now what is the magnitude that we have now? Corner frequency at 10, right? 10 radians per second. Okay, so now, okay, uh, so now what is the formula? Guys, keep in mind, to M2 also we have the same formula, because guys, the reason both M1 and M2 are related with the lowest corner frequency. Okay, because I am again telling both the M1 and M2 values are related with the lowest corner frequency, because I told you we originally had 10 and 1000 as our corner frequencies, while this is the existing lowest, or the lowest value that we have. This is the highest existing that we have. So with respect to this, we introduce another lowest. That means both these frequencies are based upon the lowest value. So that means for the second magnitude, or the M2 is also related with something about this lowest frequency. So that means to M2 also we have the same formula. Okay, so now what is M2? It's easy. 20 logarithmic of, put modulus, what? First term, first term, or first compartment. No, don't worry why for the second term also, why we are getting the first term, why it is not second term. Guys, this is just a formula. Okay, so M2 is also 20 log first term. Okay, so what is 20 log first term? 20 logarithmic of, I think you can remember, 1000 divided by j omega. But keep in mind, now at omega equals what? What is the value? Omega C1. As you can remember, based upon the previous table, I told you uh, the next frequency that what we have, 10, we defined it as omega C1. So now we have to put this omega, or we have to replace this omega by omega C1. That means what is omega C1? That is 10. Okay, so 20 log 1000 divided by j times 10. So 10, so this will become 100. So logarithmic of 100 divided by j, so it's just the modulus, no need to worry about j. So 20 log 100. So what is the log 100? Is 2, that means 20 multiplied by 2, it will be 40 decibels. Okay, 40 decibels. Okay, so now we have to find that magnitude for the corner frequency omega z2. So I know, as you can remember, now we know what is this omega z2. Actually, omega c2 equals 1000 radians per seconds, and you know that. So now in order to find this M3 and M4, that means the magnitude M3 and M4, it's a bit different, because the reason is I already told you that M1 and M2 are related with the lowest frequency, and M3 and M4 are some cases where it is related with the highest frequency, because we know that omega c2 is the highest existing frequency that what we have, and omega h is something that we have introduced in order to sketch the graph. That means both m3 and m4 are related with the highest frequency. So now the fact is the way of calculating m3 and m4 are different. It is not same as for the previous step. As you know, in the previous step we did something like m1 equals like 20 log first term. Okay, so but now the case is not like that. Here it's bit different. So I will tell you how to do this. Okay, so now we are going to find m3. So what is m3? M3 is magnitude when the corner frequency is omega equals omega c2, right? So that is the case where we find the magnitude when the corner frequency equals omega c2, and we know omega c2 equals 1000 radians per second. Okay, so now let's see how to calculate that. M3. So now we are going to calculate. So M3 means it's a different formula. Careful. Change in slope from weight. So now what is the current frequency for M3? It is omega C2. We know that, no problem. What is the frequency before that? So the frequency before that means omega C1 as according to our order table, right? So now this is our order table: omega L, omega C1, omega C2 and omega H. So now I told you the formula is different. So M3 equals change in slope from the frequency before omega C2, because M3 is related with omega Z2. So now you have to consider the change in slope from the frequency before this to current one. So that means change in slope from omega C1 to omega C, right? So the magnitude M3 equals change in slope from the frequency omega C1 to omega C2 times log of the current frequency, which is omega C2, divided by the previous frequency omega C1, okay, plus the previous magnitude, right? Previous magnitude, right? The previous magnitude. Okay, I will write again. It's very easy. So now we are going to find M3, which is related for the frequency omega Z2. So that means change in slope from omega Z1 to omega Z2, this times the logarithmic of current frequency omega C2 divided by omega Z1 plus the previous magnitude that you have calculated. So what is the previous magnitude that you calculated? That is M2. Very easy. Okay, so now we know what is M2. We calculated previously from the first formula, right? So now what is the change in slope from omega C1 to omega C2? Now be very careful. I think you can remember initially we calculated something called data table. I think as you can remember. So now in the data table we calculated something called the change in slope, right? So change in slope according to this sector is change from this, because now as this is the initial frequency, there won't be any change, right? Because as this is the initial slope, as this is the initial, there is no any change. Okay, and now according to the next case, like according to the case of M3, right? So now I told you, so be very careful because you must know this logically. Now according to the case of M3, right? According to the case of M3, change in slope from C1 to 2. C1 to 2, that means it is going down from here. Why? Because now this line is related to omega Z1, no any doubt. This entire line, right? This entire data set is related to omega Z1, and this entire data set is related to omega C2. So that means for the frequency that is going from here to downwards, right? Frequency going from here to downward. So that means like change in slope from C1 to C2, right? Omega C1 to omega C2, that means starting from this frequency to downwards. So what is the change in slope to that? That is minus 40, right? Because otherwise you will never get to know how we are going to get that change in slope concept. So change in slope from omega C1 to C2, I mean starting from C1 to C2, that is minus 40. Okay, so how you get minus 40? From here, right? Because that this change in slope is going to get applied for the frequency that is going from here to the next one, right? Starting from here to the next one is omega C2. So that means change in slope from omega C1 to C2, right? Change in slope from omega C1 to omega C2 is this, because it is starting from here. I think now it's so clear to you, right? So it is minus 40 times logarithmic of, now what is the current frequency that we have? It's 1000, and the previous one, it is 10. Okay, plus M2. What is the previous thing that you calculated? As you can remember from the previous formula, it is 40 decibels. So positive plus 40, right? Minus 40 log current divided by the previous plus the previous magnitude you calculate. So it's easy. Minus 40 log, this will be 100 plus 40, and minus 40, so log of 100 will be 2, right? Plus 40, right? So minus 40 into 2, it will be minus 80. Minus 80 plus 40 will be minus 40 decibels, right? So it's very easy. So that's how we calculate M3. So now calculating M4 is your turn, but doesn't matter. I will teach you how to calculate that. It's easy, actually it's not hard. So now our next target is to calculate M4, right? So now let's calculate M4. Okay, so now the next target is to calculate M4. So now guys, what is M4? M4 is the magnitude when O, according to the corner frequency omega h, right? Because M4, I told you, M4 is related to omega h, right? See, this omega h is the highest frequency that we added, right? So omega h is the highest frequency that we added. So now that magnitude M4 is totally related with this omega h, right? So M4 is the magnitude when, or in other words, according to the corner frequency of omega h. So now let's see how to calculate that. So it's easy. So how we are going to find omega M4, magnitude 4? It's easy, right? So M4 equals, what is the first thing? Change in slope Okay, change in slope from the previous one. So if you consider M4 and you know M4 is related with omega h, so change in slope from previous. So what is the previous frequency that you have before omega h? The previous frequency that comes before omega h is omega c2. So omega c2 is the frequency that comes before this one. So that means change in slope from omega c2 to omega h, because why? Omega h is the current one that we are stepping in, and this is the previous one. So change in slope from omega c2, which is the previous, to omega h, which is the current one. So this is the current and this is the previous, right? Times this times the logarithmic of current one and the previous one. Okay, so what is the current one? Omega h. What is the previous one? Omega c2. I think this part also you can remember positive what? The previous magnitude. So if this is the current magnitude, so what is the previous magnitude? That is M3. Okay, so now it's very easy. So now change in slope. Okay, so but guys, now according to the data table, right? So now this data table is prepared based upon these three major lines. So this data table is basically prepared based upon the major three compartments, right? So but now what I say is omega h, right? Omega h, or the highest frequency, is something that is going beyond this, beyond, right? So omega h, which is the extreme highest frequency, that is something going beyond this. Anyhow, even though it is going beyond or not, anyhow, omega h, right? Omega h, actually this omega h starts to happen from this one, right? Because omega h comes after this one, right? So before omega h, what you have is omega c2, so no doubt, right? So when you're going to consider the change from omega c2 to omega h, that means you have to give the consideration to what comes before omega h. So what is coming before omega h? That is omega c2. So that means if you want to find the change in slope from omega c2 to omega h, so this is the only consideration that you can make. So what is this minus 60? This minus 60 you already calculated, decibels per decade. So this minus 60 is the change in slope from omega c2 to omega h. Before omega h, what we have is omega c2, right? So for the change, or because for the change in the slope is given by this one, because this is the uh, because this is that frequency, right? Because this omega c2 is the frequency that is responsible for the change in slope for the upcoming frequency after this one. So what is the upcoming frequency? So that is omega h. I think I took a lot of time to explain you the concept, like rather than just memorizing. Okay, so now you know the change in slope from previous one to the next one is minus 60. So change in slope from omega c2 to omega h is minus 60, and logarithmic of what is the current one that we have is 10,000, previous one it's 1,000, plus what is the previous magnitude that you calculated? You know, from this one we calculated, it is minus 40. Okay, so minus 60 times logarithmic of 10,000, 1,000, so it will be log of 10 minus 40. So log of 10 is 1, so this will be minus 60, this will be minus 40, so minus 100 decibels. So now we have, guys, so now we have successfully calculated all the necessary magnitudes for the respected frequency. Got it? Right, so now we can represent it like that. Let's say the corner frequency. Let's say the corner frequency. This is the corner frequency. Okay, what is this? This is the respected respected magnitude, right? So the first corner frequency will be omega L. That is something we introduced, which equals 1 radians per second. Second one is the existing one, which is omega C1, that is 10 radians per second. The next one is also existing, omega C2, 1000 radians per second. After that is omega H, that is something we introduced, which is 1000 radians per second. So the respected magnitude related to this one is M1, related to this one is M2, related to this one is M3, related to this one is M4, and all in decibels, 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 decibels. But keep in mind, the change in slope, the units of change in slope is not decibels, that's decibels for decade, right? So that we have already discussed in this previous table, right? Now don't remember the concept, okay? Because don't try to memorize the concept, then you will never get to learn the thing, right? So M1 we calculated. What is M1? I'll write in a different color. 60 decibels, that is M1. And what is M2? 40 decibels, right? So M1 is 60 decibels and M2 is 40 decibels, okay, and M3 is minus 40 decibels, okay, and what is M4, the last one? It is minus 100 decibels. So now it's very easy. So now we know the respected magnitude with respect to the respected frequency. Now this is very important in order to sketch the magnitude plot, okay? So the next part is like it's very interesting, right? So now the thing is, now we have to sketch it. So I don't think this orientation it will be clear, but okay guys. So now we are going to sketch the magnitude plot, okay? So now in order to sketch the magnitude plot, we are going to use semilograph, okay? So semilograph is something like this, right? Now this is a sample semilograph that I sketched. So keep in mind guys, this is not logarithmic graph, semilograph. The word semi is like very important, okay? So now in semilograph means that semilograph is divided in such a way based upon the power of 10. The semilograph is divided based upon the power of 10. That means you can see in the semilograph the first division, right? The first division is given for the region of 10 to the power 1. That means the first region, right? This is the first region, right? This region starting from here to here. I'll put an arrow. So this is the first region, right? So this first region starting from here to here is donated for the first power of 10, which is 10. So that means this line is responsible for 1, this line for 2, this line for 3, this line for 4, 5, 6, like that. So that continuation ends at here, which is 10. So what is this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10? What are those? Actually those are the corner frequencies, okay? I mean this lines, I mean this axis stands for the corner frequency, right? Those corner frequencies are denoted in this line, right? So this is the first division. So this stands for 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. This comes up to 10, okay? So now next move to the next division. So this is actually, now this is the difference in the semilograph. So now in the next division it continues from 10 to the next power of 10. So what is the next power of 10? Next power of 10 is 10 to the power 2, which is 100. So now it continues from 10 to 100. That means how? This is 10. What is this? It is 20, okay? Next one 30, 40, then 50, 60, 70, like that. It comes up to 100, okay? It comes up to 100 for the next order of, or the next power of 10. And now we are moving to the third division. Third division means the third sequence. Let's see like that. Now this sequence, or the, I mean like the next region is gifted for the 10th order of 3. So what is the 10th power of 3? Which is 1000. So like this division, now here the division 1, division 2, division 3. So now this division is for the 10th power of 3. So what is the 10th power of 3? That is 1000. So that means now this stands for 100 and this stands for 1000. So that means this continues 100, this line 200, this line 300, 400, 500, 600, like that. This comes up to 10,000. Okay, understand? So now the last division, but I think in the semi-log graph sheet that you might be finding, it will contain even more than this number of divisions. It will contain a lot of divisions, but the important thing that you need to know is like how you're going to analyze the semi-log graph sheet. Okay, so now I sketched the graph basically for these divisions. So what is the last division according to my graph? That is here, first, second, third and fourth. This is the fourth and last. So now this sequence, like this region is gifted for the 10th power of 4. What is the 10th power of 4? That is 10,000. That means this last line, this line stands for 10,000. So this line stands for 1000. Guys, careful, I'm talking about this line, not this region. Okay, not this region, right? So this line, what is this line? So this line stands for 1000 and this line stands for 2000. The next one stands for 3000, 4000, like that. It continues up to 5000, 6000, 7000, 8000, like that. It continues up to 10,000, right? So that means if you're going to consider the division among this 2000 and 1000, it is not the same. The division is also decreasing. Like the division among 2000 to 1000 is like this much, and the division among 3000 to 2000 is this. The division is not the same. Actually, it is reducing, right? So that is the speciality in the semi-log graph. Till I'm not going to sketch the magnitude plot. First of all, I'm giving you a kind of an idea about what is semi-log graph. So now you know how to get this region. 1 to 10, 10 to the power 1, 10 to 100, 10 to the power 2, 10 to 100 to 1000, 10 to the power 3, 1000 to 10,000, 10 to the power 4. So that is how the regioning happens. Keep in mind, this line stands for 1. This line stands for 10. This line stands for 100. This line stands for 1000. This line stands for 10,000. Okay. So what is this next one? What is this axis? This axis is very easy. This axis is nothing than the magnitude that we calculated. Like we calculated a lot of magnitudes, right? As you can remember, because after giving hell lot of efforts, we calculated some magnitudes. So this axis is all for the magnitudes. So this axis for the magnitudes. No, but careful. Now when you are going to consider the magnitudes, just consider the range where the negative magnitudes are spread. Now here if you consider, we basically have 4 magnitudes. The maximum magnitude that we have from the positive side is 60 and the maximum magnitude that we have on the negative side is 100. So now you must have an idea about the range that we should distribute for the positives and negatives. So for the positives we must give maximum up to 60 and for the negatives we must give maximum up to 100. That means the highest separation should be given to the negative side. So depending upon that, you have to select the region of this axis, because here we have larger range for the negative. That means the larger range should be given for the negative. Okay, and also when you are sketching this graph, you can decide any sort of a division for the center magnitude. Center magnitude means 0, right? Center magnitude means 0 because there should be a centered midline. So highest consideration should be given for the negative, then the rest of the consideration should be given to the positive. Okay, so now you can consider any midline. So this line stands for 0 magnitude. See, this line stands for 0 magnitude. Then you can divide into 20, 40, 60, like that. Actually 80 is not necessary because the maximum value that we have from the positive side is 60 and the rest goes for the negative, like minus 20, minus 40, minus 60, minus 80, minus 100. So like that you can continue for the negative region. I think now you can have an idea about the semi-log graph. Okay, so now the thing is, now we have to plot this in a very nice manner, but before that we need to calculate something called what? The phase plot, right? That is the next target, right? We calculated the magnitude plot, so now the next target is the phase plot. Okay guys, so now we are going to sketch the magnitude plot. So now I think the previous part I already explained you about the semilograph. So now we have moved to the semilograph. Now it's like this. So now I told you in the semilograph there are certain divisions, right? So there are certain ranges that are divided based upon the power of 10. That means the first division is for 10 to the power 1, and the next division is for 10 to the power 2, and the other division is to 10 to the power 3, and the next division is to 10 to the power 4. So like that, basically we have 4 divisions that are changing with respect to the power of 10, right? So that means, as you can see, the horizontal axis denotes the corner frequency. So such that the first corner frequency that we have is 1 radians per second, which actually we added externally in order to sketch this plot, and the next one is 10, which was originally there, and the next one is 1000 radians per second. So now you can, I think now you must remember this stuff. So what is our what is the notation of 1 radians per second? That is omega L, okay, which is the lowest frequency. Then what is the notation for 10 radians per second? That is omega C1. Then what is the notation for 1000 radians per second? That is omega Z2. And what is the notation for the 10,000 radians per second? That is omega high, which is the external frequency that we added. Okay, so that's all about the x-axis, because now you know, depending upon these ranges, you can see, if you consider the first range here, right? So you can very clearly see it is divided up to a range of 10, where the first line is 1, the second line is 2, and the third line is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like that it comes up to 10. Then after that it continues from like 10, 20, 30, 40 up to 100. So then it continues from 100, 200, 300 up to 10,000. So like that it continues up to 1000, 2000, 3000, 4000, 5000 up to 10,000. So that's all about the x-axis, which is the frequency axis. And so the next axis is the magnitude plot, where the values of m1, m2, m3, m4 that we calculated. So as you can remember, m1 is the value which is responsible for the frequency 1 radians per second. Then m2 is the magnitude that is responsible for the corner frequency 10 radians per second. Then m3 is the value that is responsible for the corner frequency of 1000 radians per second. Then m4 is the last magnitude which is responsible for the corner frequency 10,000 radians per second. So it's very easy now. So what is the first corner frequency? Is 1 radians per second. So what is the respected magnitude for that? 60. So our first point is 1 radians per second and 60 decibels. So be very careful. You need to just separate the y-axis depending upon the distribution for the positive side and negative side, because now in consideration of the magnitudes that we calculated, the maximum value from the positive side is 60, the maximum value from the negative side is minus 100. So that means the maximum consideration must be given to the negative side. So you have to select the y-axis according to that. Then among that, you can also decide the center line, or you can also decide the 0 decibel line at the mid, like, so it can take the point as according to the respected magnitude value. So the 0 indicates the 0 decibel line. Then above the 0 you have the positive magnitudes, and below the 0 line you have the negative magnitude. So it's very easy. So the first coordinate is 1 radians per second, 60 decibel, and the second one is 10 radians per second, which is omega C1. The respected value for the magnitude is that, I think you can remember, it is the 20 log first term, as you can remember. So we calculated that. So that is for 10 radians per second it is 40 decibels, and the other one is omega C2, which is 1000 radians per second. For the respected magnitude for that, according to your calculation, it must be minus 40. So minus 40 decibels. So for 10,000 radians per second it is minus 40, and for the last one, for 10,000 radians per second, it is minus 100 decibels. It's very easy. So now just mark these points, point 1, 2, 3 and 4. So point 1 coordinate 1, 60, then point 2, 10, 40, then point 3, 1000, minus 40, then last point 10,000, minus 100. So then after marking this point, just connect these points linearly. And the next part is, as you can remember, just again focus onto this data table thing that we constructed previously. Now here you can see, depending upon the first compartment, the initial slope is minus 20, but there is no any sort of a change in slope, right? There is no any sort of a change because minus 20 is the initial one. And so now after that, the change in slope starting from the second compartment, right? The change in slope starting from the second compartment is minus 40. So that means, that is why the change in slope starting from 10 to 1000, because I told you 10 radians per second is omega z1 and 1000 radians per second is omega c2. So the change in gradient from omega c1 to omega c2 is minus 40 decibels per decade. I mean the red colored one, right? So change in slope from omega c1 to omega c2 is minus 40 decibels per decade. And also you can see again from the data table, the change in slope considering the third compartment is minus 60. That means change that takes place, right? Change that takes place starting from the third compartment, starting from the third towards the upcoming compartments, right? So here there is no any sort of compartment, but the change in slope starting from this compartment is 60, right? It is minus 60. So as you can see, it is minus 60. So now what is this part? So that is the change in slope from omega c2 to omega h, because you know omega h is 10,000. So the change in slope, right? Change in slope starting from 1000, which is omega c2. So the change in slope starting from omega c2 to omega h will be minus 60 decibels per decade. So be very careful about the unit. It's not decibel, it should be decibels per decade. So what is the change? Minus 60, because see here you have clearly calculated minus 60, because minus 60 takes place starting from the compartment, which is this one. So starting from the 1 divided by 1 plus 0.001 j omega compartment to upcoming compartments, or for upcoming frequencies, the change in minus 60, right? So change that takes place in the slope starting from the third compartment to upcoming frequencies is minus 60 decibels per decade. So that is why this is minus 60 decibels per decade. That is why omega c1 to omega c2 minus 40 and omega c2 to omega high minus 60, and here this one. So be bit careful how this came minus 20 decibels per decade, but because this was the initial one, right? Because initially according to this table there is no any sort of a change, so the only existing slope was the initial slope. That means there is no any change, there is no change in slope, because guys the difference is here it is the slope and here it is the change in slope, but of course here there is no any change in the slope, right? Be very careful, here there is no any change in the slope. So if there is no any change, so what is that existing slope? Is minus 20. So that is why the change in slope starting from 1 radians per second to 10 is minus 20. I think so. Now the magnitude plot is completed. Okay, so now the next target is to sketch the phase plot. So right, so now let's see how to sketch this phase plot. So it's very easy. So now we know our transfer function is g of s equals 1000 divided by s times 1 plus 0.1 s times 1 plus 0.001 s. So this is our transfer function. So now the thing you need to do is just replace this s by putting j omega. So then you will be getting g of s equals 1000 divided by j omega times 1 plus 0.1 j omega times 1 plus 0.001 j omega, right? So now that is clear. So now actually the phase plot means you have to find the argument of this, but keep in mind when you are replacing by putting s equals j omega, so then this s also becomes j omega. That means this should be g of j omega equals 1000 divided by j omega times 1 plus 0.1 j omega times 1 plus 0.001 j omega. So the logic is very easy. So now the phase plot means you have to find the argument of this. As you can remember the concept of argument, that is something related with complex numbers. You know the complex number theory, z equals x plus iy. So if you know this complex number theory, so what is argument of vz? Argument of vz means that angle. You know that is tan inverse the component of the imaginary component divided by the real component. So tan inverse, what is the imaginary component? Y divided by the real component x. So that is something coming from the complex number theory. So actually what is the phase plot? Phase plot means the argument of this transfer function. So that means, as you know that g of j omega equals 1000 divided by j omega times 1 plus 0.1 j omega because now this is our transfer function 1 plus 0.001 j omega, because you already know this. So now what is the phase plot? It's very easy. You have to find the argument of this, which is the angle. So arg of g j omega, right? So the argument of g of j omega. So it's very easy. So now I will tell you how to do that. So now you can consider this as three complex numbers that are in the denominator side. That is the easiest way, how in a such a way that you can consider, right? And also I told you something about the basic compartments, as you can remember, because as you know, what are the basic compartments that we have? The first compartment CP1, you can remember 1000 divided by j omega. That is the basic compartment. And what is the compartment 2? 1 divided by 1 plus 0.1 j omega. That is the compartment number 2. And the compartment number 3, 1 divided by 1 plus 0.001 j omega, right? So now as this is our basic compartment or the first compartment, and I told you when you are going to consider the argument thing, now that entire transfer function, that entire g of j omega thing, guys, you can consider this as three complex numbers that are in the denominator, right? Very easy, three complex numbers that are in the denominator. So how you can convert that? It's like this. So this is what we have initially. Now carefully focus, guys. G of j omega equals 1000 divided by j omega. Actually this is the first compartment, and then 1 plus 0.1 j omega times 1 plus 0.001 j omega. This is what we have now. So I told you we can consider this thing as three complex numbers that are in the denominator now. So you can put this 1000 to downwards in the inverse format. That means here you can keep 1 j omega, right, divided by 1000, right? I mean, in the similar manner you can take this 1000 to downwards like this, j omega divided by 1000. So this is like one complex number z1, and this is another complex number 1 plus 0.1 j omega, and this is the other complex number 1 plus 0.001 j omega. Okay, so now this is, I told you, one complex number, another complex number, another complex number. So now I told you have to get the argument of this, or in other words you have to get the angle. So arg of g of j omega, right? So g of j omega argument. So it's very easy, right? So how you can find the argument? So it's very easy, because as all these three complex numbers are in the denominator, it's very easy. So it must be minus argument of z1 minus argument of z2 and minus argument of z3. That is the easiest concept. Because why minus? Because all these three terms are in the denominator, right? So it's very easy now. Argument of g of j omega equals minus argument of z1 minus argument of z2, then minus argument of z3. So now it's very easy. So how you are going to get the argument of this one? Okay, so let's consider now. Okay, now let's consider separately by part. So z1 equals j omega divided by 1000, right? So now this is the complex number now. So now this j is the complex number component, right? Okay, so this j is that complex number component. So now here there is no real part. So what is argument of z1? It is the tan inverse of imaginary component divided by real component. So here there is no real component, so it is 0. So what is the imaginary component? Omega divided by, here this is 1000, so omega divided by 1000, right? Right, j omega divided by 1000. So the imaginary component will be omega divided by 1000. So omega divided by 1000 divided by 0. So this 0 stands for the real component, so no real component. So this is tan inverse infinity, right? So what is tan inverse infinity? Pi by 2 or 90. So that means minus argument of Z1 is what? It is minus 5 by 2. Okay, so now that logic is clear. Now you know how you are getting minus argument of Z1. Guys, it is very easy, right? So separately you have to consider what is Z1. Then you know Z1 is 5 by 2, but just because of the minus component it is minus 5 by 2. Okay, so now what is the next part? Minus argument of Z2. Minus argument of Z2. So that means, now what is Z2? Z2 is actually, now see, this is Z2, that means Z2 equals 1 plus 0.1 j omega. So what is the argument of Z2? Argument means that angle. So it is tan inverse imaginary component divided by real component. So what is imaginary component? 0.1 omega. Okay, so 0.1 omega. What is the real component? This. So this divided by 1 is same as this term. So you can say tan inverse 0.1 omega. Understand? So similarly you can consider the case for Z3. So what is our Z3? So this is that Z3, 1 plus 0.001 j omega, right? So now what is argument of Z3? Argument of Z3 means tan inverse the imaginary component. What is imaginary component? Now J is that complex agent, right? The complex coefficient. So what is argument of Z? Tan inverse the imaginary component, which is 0.001 omega divided by 1, because this 1 is the real component. So it's very easy, tan inverse 0.001 omega. So now the logic is very easy, right? So right, so now for your betterment I will finalize this, right? So if I will tell you the steps that I followed, right? Now you have the basics. Now our target was to find phase plot. Okay, and now we know our G of S equals 1000 divided by S times 1 plus 0.1 S times 1 plus 0.001 S. We know this. Then we just replace this S, 1000 divided by j omega times 1 plus 0.1 j omega, because you know these steps came, how these steps came. So 1 plus 0.001 j omega, and I told you to like put this 1000 to downwards. So then this will become j omega divided by 1000. Okay, so 1 plus 0.1 j omega, then 1 plus 0.001 j omega, but here you should have the 1 for the numerator. Okay, so then I told you to consider this as a separate complex number, Z1, Z2 and Z3. So what is the phase plot? And just because by putting S equals j omega, this also becomes G of j omega. Very easy. So now what is the argument? Actually phase plot is that argument. So that means argument of G of j omega means minus argument of Z1 minus argument of Z2 minus argument of Z3. So why this minus came, guys? The minus came just because the reason is these three complex numbers are at downstairs. Okay, so now what is the answer that you got here? Now you can remember how we got this, right? Because we know now Z1 equals j omega divided by 1000, while having the real component is 0, so plus 0. So it's easy, tan inverse omega divided by 1000 divided by 0. So like tan inverse infinity, right? You know these steps now. Okay, so now argument of G of j omega. So what is the value? Minus 5 by 2. Now we know these steps, minus 5 by 2. And what comes over here? Minus tan inverse, because we already calculated individually, minus tan inverse 0.1 omega, and here minus tan inverse 0.001 omega. So now this is the standard expression for the phase plot. Okay guys, now it's very important, this is the standard expression for the phase plot. So now what is the next thing you need to do now? So now you need to calculate phase plot for some certain angles, because our purpose is to obtain some values and then plot the phase plot. So for that you need to apply this equation for some like particular angles, right? So now I think without even looking at, now you can tell it. So now what is the expression for the phase plot? Very easy, g of j omega, but keep in mind guys, you have to put argument, right? So keep in mind you have to put argument. So now argument of g of j omega equals minus 5 by 2 minus tan inverse 0.1 omega minus tan inverse 0.001 omega. So now this is the standard expression for the phase plot. So it's very easy now. So now in order to sketch the phase plot, just select some certain values for omega. So now what is omega? Actually omega stands for the frequency. So now the thing is that you need to do now is just select some omega values. Okay, select some values for omega. So now I am going to select omega equals 1, and also I am going to select omega equals 5. These are in radians per second, you know that. And then I am going to select omega equals 10, then I am going to select omega equals 50, and I am going to select omega equals 100, and I am going to select omega equals 200, and also finally I am going to select omega equals 500. So now I will do one sample, then you can get to know about that. So guys, why we are selecting these parts? Because we need to plot the phase plot, right? For that we need some certain angles. So just select some frequencies. That's the part number 1, selecting some frequencies like 1, 5, 10, 50, 100, 200 and 500. So now we already know the general expression for that argument. So you can put values ranging from omega equals 1, 5, 10, 50, 100, so like that. So now it's very easy. So now just put omega equals 1, right? So now you are going to find the argument of g of j omega for the particular value of omega, which is that omega equals 1. Okay, so when omega equals 1, it gives you minus 5 by 2 minus tan inverse, look at here it is 0.1 omega. So when you put omega equals 1, so this will become 0.1, tan inverse 0.1, minus here see 0.001 omega. So when you put omega equals 1, so this will become 0.001 into omega, but omega is 1, so value will be minus tan inverse 0.001. So it's very easy now. So guys, there is one more thing. Now this phi is in radians, right? So better to put it in the degree format. So just put minus 90 degrees. So now let's see how to put that in the calculator, right? So now carefully see what I'm going to put just on it, right? So just put minus 90, okay, then minus shift tan inverse, what is the value? 0.1, okay, minus shift tan inverse, what is the value? 0.001. Okay, so what is the value you are getting? 95.76. okay, so here the value is minus 95.76. so it's okay, we can round it and we can put 95.8, minus 95.8 degrees. Okay, right? So now let's do another such a calculation, right? Because now this we did for omega equals 1. Okay, so now let's do this for omega equals 1000. Okay, and we already know the general expression, which is g of j omega. Actually now what you are going to find is the argument, right? So this equals minus 5 by 2 minus tan inverse. Now, so now when you are continuously writing like this, now the entire equation should be in your mind, right? So because even when I am doing the calculation, I am not turning at the previous pages because the entire equation set I am having in my mind. So now minus 5 by 2 minus tan inverse, what is it? 0.1 omega minus tan inverse 0.001 omega, right? So now what is the next thing? Just put some value for omega and find this value or find this argument, right? So now we will put omega equals 100. Okay, so now minus 5 by 2, okay, minus tan inverse here. So now according to current value our omega is 100, so just multiply this by 100. So when you multiply this by 100, so this will become 110. So tan inverse 10. It's very easy. So this case tan inverse, so now this part, so now this is 0.001 omega, but now omega equals 100. So when you multiply by 0.01, when you multiply by 100, so it will become one decimal jumps here, another decimal jumps here, so 0.1. So tan inverse 0.1. Theory is very easy now. So now I told you we need to obtain the answer in the degree format, so better put minus 90. Okay, so now let's again go for the calculation. So put minus 90, then minus tan inverse, what is the value that you have now? Tan inverse 10. Okay, minus again tan inverse, so now what is the value? 0.1. so what is the value you are getting? Minus 180. See, it's minus 180. So minus 180, but minus 180 is in what? Degrees. Okay, so it's in degrees. So now you know, now you calculated the particular argument. Okay, so now let's see. Argument for omega equals 1 you calculated. So what was it? 95.8 minus 95.8 degrees, and also you calculated for omega equals 100. So what is it? Minus 180 degrees. So like that you have to calculate this for some certain values. Okay, right? Okay, I will do calculation for another more angle, right? So again I am telling, we know the expression for the argument of g of j omega equals minus 5 by 2 minus tan inverse 0.1 omega minus tan inverse 0.001 omega. Okay, right? So now put another value. So let's put omega equals 500, right? So now you need to find the phase angle, because when you are putting omega equals 500, by this equation you can find the phase angle, right? So now it's easy. So here minus 5 by 2, right? So then tan inverse minus tan inverse 0.1 you are going to multiply by 500. So what is the value you are getting? Here the value you are getting is 50. 0.1 multiplied by 500, so the value is minus tan inverse 50. And here again minus tan inverse, right? What you have to do? 0.001 you have to multiply by what? 500. So what is the value you are getting now? It is 0.5. 0.001 into 500, so it is 0.5. So now again get the calculator. Minus 90 minus tan inverse 50 minus tan inverse 0.5. So What's the value you are getting? 205.41. Okay, you can just put it minus 205.4 degrees. Okay, so it's very easy. So like that, by putting different values for omega, because now the reason is we need to plot the phase plot, because we need to obtain the values for phase plot. So what the thing that you need to do is put some values for omega, right? Like omega equals 1, omega equals 100, and omega equals 500. So put some values and then find the phase angle. So how you are going to find the phase angle? By using this general formula, right? So by putting these values, you can find certain values for the phase angle, right? So now, based upon the previous formula that we used in order to find the phase angle, as you can remember that g of j omega equals 1000 divided by j omega times 1 plus 0.1 j omega times 1 plus 0.001 j omega. So now you know, as according to the previous calculation, these are the phase angle values that we calculated, right? So here you can see, depending upon the frequency, I mean, like when you put omega equals 1 radians per second, minus 95.8 is that particular phase angle that you found for that, I mean, by using that phase angle formula. And like because like in previous video I did some sample calculations, that means for 5 radians per second, this minus 116.5 degrees was the phase angle value that you calculated for that particular frequency. And now for 10 radians per second, minus 135.6 is that phase angle value that you calculated. So like that, for 1 radians per second, 5, 10, 50, 100, 200 and 500. So now you have calculated values for the phase angle by using that previous formula. Okay, so now the ultimate target is to plot these values in that semi-log graph. So now let's see how to do that. So now you know this is the reference 0 decibel magnitude line. Which one? 0 decibel magnitude line. So doesn't matter. So the same reference line, that means the same reference line, for this side it is playing as the 0 decibel line for the magnitudes, and for the same time this is playing as the reference line for the phase angle side. So now let's see. Okay, so now I will consider this reference line as so let's see. Okay, so I will say this reference line as 120. So I will say this one as minus 120 degrees. Okay, so this reference line, right, I'm going to define as this line as minus 120 degrees. So now here you can see okay, so now if you consider, especially if you consider this line, so you can see these segments, right? As you can see these segments, say I will use a different color. So now you can see this segment and this segment and this segment, this segment and this segment. So like that, here you can see there are total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are totally there are 5 segments. So that means totally 5 segments are there. So the distance that I am going to maintain among the two divisions is 20 degrees, right? So 20 degrees, but 5 divisions are there. So the value that is carried by one particular division will be 4 degrees. That means the amount that is responsible for one small division is 4 degrees. Okay, and also now see, these divisions are divided in the same, by maintaining the same weight. So as you can very easily see, this weight, I mean, like this gap is also same, this gap is also same, this gap is also same, and this gap, like these these divisions are actually divided by maintain the same gap, but it is not same as for the vertical line. So here you can see these horizontal lines are divided about the x-axis. So actually, what is this axis? Y-axis. Okay, you can just call this axis as vertical axis, right? So that's no problem. So now here you can see these horizontal lines are divided about the vertical axis by maintaining the same weight. Okay, so but the case is not same for the frequency line. So here you can see the frequency line. The frequency lines, that means these vertical these vertical frequency lines are divided along the horizontal axis, right? So like these vertical lines are divided along the horizontal axis without maintaining the same width or without maintaining the same weight, right? Here you can see the weight is different, and here you can see the weight is different, here weight is different, here weight is different. So like that you can very clearly see the weight is like very different. Okay, so now it's easy. So now you can see the vertical vertical frequency lines are divided about the horizontal axis without maintaining the same width, and here you can see the horizontal degree, I mean like the horizontal phase angle divisions are divided along the vertical axis by maintaining the same width. So that's the difference. Okay, so now let's come back to the plot. So now here minus 120 degrees. So and this division is minus 100. Minus 100, what are the decibels? Sorry, what are the units? It's degrees. So what is this? Minus 80. Okay, so very easy, it's not a big deal. So 80, 100 and 120, then this is minus 140. Okay, and this is minus 160, and this is minus 180, right? And this is minus 200, and this is minus 220. So now you can see, now we have very nicely divided. Again check the divisions whether the division order is correct or not. Now this side stands for this phase angle that where you have calculated. So minus 80, minus 100, minus 120, minus 140, minus 160, minus 180, minus 200, minus 220. Okay, so now let's see. So now you are going to mark those points. So let's use a different color. I will use black. Right, so now you can see what is the phase angle with respect to 1 radians per second. This is 1 radians per second line, right? So this line is 1 radians per second line. So what is the phase angle for 1 radians per second? So here you can see this line. So what is this line? This line is minus 80. So I told you the divisions are going by 4 by 4 because like this 20 the 20 weight, I mean the 20 degrees are divided into 5 segments, so one division stands for 4. So this is 80, this line is 80, 84, 88 and 92 and 96. So this line is 96 but our value is 95.8, so it doesn't matter. So we are just roughly going to mark, right? So you can consider this point, as minus 95.8. so again I will tell, this is 80, 84, 88, 92 and 96, right? So what we are just roughly going to mark, so this point can be considered as minus 95.8. so the respected frequency is 1 radians per second and the respected phase angle is minus 95.8. so this coordinate is done. Okay, this is that coordinate. So what is the next thing? 5 radians per second. So now what is 5 radians per second? The frequency line is very easy. This is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now this is 5 radians per second frequency line, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. This is 5 radians per second frequency line. So now what is the value? It is minus 116.5. so no problem. So now you know this line is this line stands for 100, right? So this line stands for 100. So then you are going downwards by based upon the same width. 100, 104, 108, 112, 116. So 116 is here, right? So 116 is approximately 116 is here because here you need to mark just approximately. Okay, so like this is that division. It's very easy. So what is the respected frequency line? 5 radians per second, the frequency line, and horizontally you have to match this one. So what is this value? It is minus 116.5. Okay, now it is okay for y. So now let's move on to 10 radians per second. So what is 10 radians per second frequency line? So this is a 10 radians per second frequency line. So this one, right? So this stands for 10 radians per second. And what is the value? 135.6. Okay, so no problem. 10 radians, this is 120. 120, 124, 120, 132, 136 is here, right? So it doesn't matter, it is 135.6 guys, but we can approximately mark this point as 136, so it's no problem. So I think it is matched. So it is here 10 frequency and 135.6, so 136 minus 136 phase angle line. So this is done. So now 3 plots are done. So what is the next thing? 50 radians per second. So where is 50? What is 50 frequency line? First check the value also, minus 171. Okay, so this is 10. So like this line is 10, this is 20, 30, 40 and 50. So this is 50 line, right? So this is 50 line. And what is the value? This is 140. No need to go for 140, you can directly jump to 160, no problem. So this is, I like this vertical line is 50 radians per second. So then this is 160, this line is 160, 164, 168, 172. So it doesn't matter, you can approximately mark here, right? Because 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So this is 50 radians per second line, and this horizontal line, like this line, stands for 160, 64, 68 and 72. But actually the required value is 171.4. So it doesn't matter, you can either mark it here, you can either mark just little before that. Okay, so say for an example, you can better mark, okay, I'll keep that in red color. You can better mark somewhere here, because now that point is that, because guys, the reason that point is not exactly okay, it doesn't matter, I'll just undo that. Okay, because that point is not exactly 172, no, so that is 171. So right, so it's better, I will mark the exact point 160, 64, 68, 72, just little bit before that. That means I will mark here, right? So that point, little before, it is little before 172, because our value is 171.4, right? So it is done. So again, let's check 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So it's done. So now what is the next value? 100 radians per second. That is very easy, right? So that's very easy. 100, 100. This is the 100 radians per second line. This is 100 radians per second line. So what is the degree value? That is no problem. It's minus 180. So you can mark it here, right? It's here, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's here. Okay. So what is the next one? 200 radians per second minus 188. So this is 200, because this is 100, 200 here. So this is 200 line. What is the phase angle? Minus 188. So this is minus 180. So this is 184. This is 188. 200 vertical line and minus 180 you can exactly find. So this is that frequency. This is that phase angle, which is minus 188. So the last one, 500 radians per second, 205.4. So it's okay. So this is 100, this vertical line is 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. So this is 500, 100, 200, 300, 400. So this is 500 line, no problem. This is 500 line. So now we know this is 200, this is 204, this is 208. So that means 205, the required value comes little bit before that. So if you go for 208, that means if you go to this line, it will be little wrong. So we have to go little before that. So let's mark it somewhere here, right? 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 200, 204. So here approximately it will be 205. So now we have plotted all the required necessary lines. See, point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So are there 7 or 8? Yeah, there are actually 7 coordinates, not 8. 1, This is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, this is 6, yeah, this is 7. So actually basically what we have is actually 7 coordinates, not 8. So this point is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now we have plotted all those necessary 6 plots. So again I will repeat, this point stands for 1 radians per second minus 95.8, and this stands for 5 radians per second minus 116.5, and the next one, this stands for 10 radians per second, and the horizontal line which is respected for the phase angle is minus 135.6, and the next one 50 radians per second minus 171.4, and the next one is 100 radians per second which is minus 180 degrees, and the next one is 200 radians per second which is minus 188, and the next one is 500 radians per second which is 205.4. So now we have plotted this. So now the next thing is we just need to connect these points by using just a it will be just a freehand sketch. Okay, it will be very easy, it will be just a freehand, right? So don't think about that in a very complex mode, right? So it will be just a freehand sketch. So what is the color that I should use? So let's use okay, so let's use brown, right? So just connect it by freehand. Okay, so let's sketch it carefully. So let's sketch it carefully, right? So it will be just a freehand sketch like this, right? So because sometimes you might be asking from me, why can't we directly sketch a straight line? Guys, we are not going to sketch a straight line because it won't take according to the straight line format, right? So it doesn't go in the linear format. So we are going to make just a kind of very simple sketch like this, right? So if you are not that much interested about that sketch, we'll again resketch it, so no problem. Right, so you have to go that very smoothly, right? So you have to go that very smoothly, don't make too much of curves, right? Because actually guys, this curve actually depends upon the points that we have selected. Here 1, here 2, and here 3, here 4, here 5, and 6 and 7. So anyhow you have to make a freehand sketch like that. So this stands for the phase angle plot, and this stands for the magnitude plot. Okay, so I think now everything is fine, right? So now that's all about. And also guys, I'm again just reminding you, now these horizontal lines are divided upon the vertical line by maintaining the same width, but in this case these vertical lines are divided upon the horizontal axis without maintaining the same width, because now this is for the sequence, right? So that's all about the border plot, right? So after doing some calculations, you need to find these kind of the slopes, and then the changing slopes, and then you have to plot the separately you have to plot that what we call the magnitude table. So then you have to sketch it. So I think, as you can remember, it's very easy. First of all, carefully look at the problem, right? Then you have to check whether it is given according to the standard format, which is like 1 plus t times s, because you have to obtain all those terms based upon that. So again, go back to the previous steps that I have taught you. So that's all about the border plot. So it's very easy. So you have to obtain what you call, first of all you have to get the structure, right? Then you have to go for data table, then corner frequency. Then you should know at what sort of a structure which is going to give you a corner frequency. So like that, there are certain steps, right? So then you can find the corner frequency, then the slopes, then the magnitude. That there is a formula, you can remember that 20 log first term, like that. So the formula won't be the same for the like next values, it won't be the same. So I told you basically we have only 2 frequencies. Guys, can you remember the 2 frequencies? That I mean, like this 10 and 1000 are the only original frequencies that we have, because all the other frequencies that we have added externally. So this is externally added one, this is also externally added one, right? And the formula that we are going to find the magnitude based upon 1000 and 10,000 will be different. So that is the slope from C1 to C2, logarithmic of current value divided by previous value plus the previous value. So it's different. So again, go back to the previous steps, right? So that's it about border plot. Okay guys, thank you very much, take care.